I'm rocking and rolling because I don't do tax returns. That's not true for a lot of the people that I've hosted here on the Lion Share podcast. And we're going to have an interesting discussion about that today with my guest, Shelly Johnson, who is a CPA in what exact town are you in, Shelly?
We are on the north side of Indianapolis, actually in Carmel, Indiana.
Carmel, Indiana. Okay. Carmel is that where they have all the roundabouts and the
It's
new stuff? Okay.
absolutely, although the rest of the area is taken notice, and you can just about have a roundabout anywhere in town now.
Wee, fun for everyone. So, Shelly Johnson from Carmel, Indiana, and Shelly has been a longtime member of my Taxmaster Network group, as well as other groups that I do not run, but are also really outstanding groups for people who are interested in tax planning. I wish I could say that I had a monopoly on it, but I don't. And there are a lot of people out there in the CPA, enrolled agent, financial advisor space who see the value of tax planning and how it can open doors and create more of a lifestyle business. So let's jump on in. Shelly, tell me where you went wrong. Where did things go off the rail and you realized that the traditional CPA firm track wasn't for you?
Yeah, you alluded to it at the beginning. Boy, it just got to be such a grind.
Uh huh.
And yeah, you can put numbers in boxes all day long, and if you like doing it long enough and often enough, you can make a good living at it, but
Mm
it's not necessarily a balanced lifestyle. And I wanted a little bit more challenge.
hmm. Mm hmm.
And a dear friend of mine, another CPA that I've known for years, she called me up several years ago and she goes, I heard this speaker at a conference and I was kind of intrigued. And there's another, she's doing a seminar in a couple months
Mm hmm.
and I'm going to go. Would you like to go with me? And so we hopped on a plane and went and did some intense concentration on ideas around strategy, very, very little new information, but just a very different approach on how to take that. And
That's intriguing, and I apologize for
yeah,
interrupting. I think it's helpful for people to understand a lot of the things that we talk about are not necessarily new to most accountants, but it is a new way to think about things and it's a new way to order them instead of waiting until you get a technical question that involves a strategy and then answering that question once for the client to help them figure out how much they owe. Bring these ideas at the very front of an engagement, at the very front of a relationship, and use them to open doors to a different kind of business. Do you mind sharing who the presenter was that you were talking about?
that was Dominique Molina.
Right. Okay. So Dominique runs the, I'm not sure if the name is still the American Institute for Certified
I
Tax
believe
Coaches.
so.
She was also an early adopter, a member of the tax coach group, and launched AICTC in 2009. It's a tremendous program, great reputation, something like eight or 900 graduates in the 17 years since she's been operating that. So it has introduced a lot of tax professionals to the world of proactive planning.
Yeah.
So you spent 3 days probably in San Diego with some intensive training. And was that where we met?
No, I
Okay.
met you in Chicago at a
Okay.
conference on Obamacare.
Okay.
You
That
and,
makes
and another gentleman named John
right.
at
That would
that
have been in
conference.
2012 at the Drake
Yeah,
Hotel.
yeah.
Okay. So you're in California. It's sunny because it's always sunny in California and it's not always sunny in Philadelphia. You're learning about tax planning and you're looking to get into something a little more challenging that you haven't done for the last few years. Tell me about that.
Well, you come back with a lot of great ideas, and a lot of your current client base still views you as that tax preparer person that's looking in the rearview mirror.
Okay.
And so there was some client education involved. There was the marketing
Mm-hmm.
to attract different clients, to really change that mindset of what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We're more looking through the front windshield as opposed to just using that rear view mirror all the time. And it fit my personality great because I love working puzzles.
Okay.
Love puzzles.
I won't tell you what the New York Times Wordle was today. I won't
Thank
spoil it.
you. That's our dinner time. We do that one and we do connections over dinner time. So
Okay. Yeah, no, it really is very familiar. I had breakfast this morning with an estate planning attorney who asked me how I first got involved in tax, and I said I love the puzzle of it. I love helping find a solution for the client who says, "I'm here. I want to be here. What's the most tax efficient way to get from here to here?" And it is a puzzle, and we have rules. We know what we can do, we know what we can't do, we know where the gray areas are, we know where the guard rules are. But to me, it's a lot of fun. I was a kid who would buy books with mazes when I was a little kid, and I would pencil my way through the maze. So you had made the decision then. Did you ease your way into the pool, or did you just cannonball right in?
I would say we eased our way in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, tried working as much as we could with existing clients.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, we've evolved to where we're doing less than half of the tax returns that we used to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And having twice as much fun?
Close to it. Still gets a
Close.
little tense this time
Uh-huh.
of year, but we're constantly working to get closer to that
Uh-huh.
smoothed out balance.
What does that smooth out balance look like?
Well, we had a touch of it this early in tax season when we were able to step away and do a bucket trip. And
Oh, where'd you go?
we went to New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's not a long weekend trip,
No, that's not. So it's having things in place, obviously some good support with the rest of the team.
right?
But again, just not being tied to that computer screen 14
Mm-hmm.
hours a day, January to April.
Right. That's a miserable way to live.
It is.
And I know accountants who love it, and if they love it, great. More power to them.
Yeah.
Me, not so much. I would rather get a well, we'll see if this gets edited out. I would rather get a prostate exam from Edward Scissorhands than work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week preparing tax returns. Neil, you're the host. I'll let you decide whether
I
we
like
keep that
that's a
one.
good joke.
Okay,
You
good.
got to
We'll
be
keep
funny. I mean, that could be a great clip.
we'll
Quite the
keep
visual.
we'll keep that one. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. So for some people, recording history is great, and they're good at it, and the world needs people who are good at recording history. Even if you're not the one in your firm who is recording the history, you need a quality staff that you can count
mhm.
on so that you can leave for a couple of
Yeah,
weeks
yeah.
to go literally around the world.
We're not ditching the accuracy. We're just changing the rest of the
Mhm.
approach.
Well, so tell me about the approach now. This is quite a few years. This is 15 years later. And how does the business look today versus how it looked back when you first started down this path?
So let's say we get a new prospect, and if it sounds like they might be a good fit, we'll actually start with more of a discovery process
Okay.
and take a deeper dive so we have a little bit better idea what we're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Almost always a charge for that. Occasionally, if there's on the very simple spectrum, maybe not so much, but
Okay.
say it's a business account, and we give them we share the report when we do that. So even if we're not a fit, they're walking away with something that they
Okay.
can either use themselves or, potentially help onboard them somewhere else
Sure.
when that's going to
They've
be
gotten
the
valuable information from the discovery process, even if they discover that you aren't a fit.
absolutely.
Okay. And what does that information look like? Are you using I mean, is it
Um,
an informal memo? Is it a formal tax plan? Are you
it's
at that point yet?
Usually not at the point of a formal tax plan. Certainly, if we look for the things that are very obvious and, may mention, oh, it doesn't look like you're deducting your home office, or we know you live in this area. That seems like a low amount for a home office reimbursement. So it's more just touching on things that could be explored at a later date if they
Okay.
choose to move forward with us.
Okay. Assuming they choose to move forward, let's say it's a business owner, they own a roofing company and they're making a couple $3 billion a year gross and they're taking home half a million. What does the process look like from there?
So then we're going to take a deeper dive and look at, all right, what are the things we can do? And we don't, it's going to depend a little bit on the client.
Of course.
Sometimes, you can't throw four different ideas at them at once. So it may be a matter of kind of baby stepping into
Mhm.
things.
Okay.
May, perhaps have a project fee to go through, this is what we can do. Or maybe we present the idea, but there's an implementation fee
Okay.
to do that. So we try to not necessarily have a really set approach for that side of it
Mhm.
and see what's a better fit for somebody. Because this may be the first time they've ever been asked to pay up front for something like that.
Oh, it almost certainly is. Hardly any of the clients that I talk to have ever paid up front for any sort of tax planning, and I'm doing fees up to well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's a big step for them. You have to show them where the value is, show them what the opportunities are. It takes a while to get to that level of commitment. So you're showing some ideas. Maybe it's a couple of baby steps. Maybe it's a more comprehensive plan. How much of your time are you spending with the clients? Are they seeing team members? Do you give them a whole team to work with? I'm curious
Mhm.
because you've got a team, and obviously they're there to do the work you can't do all yourself. But I'm curious where that breakdown comes from. Do you keep the client interfacing for yourself? Do you keep technical planning for yourself? Please tell me you're not putting the numbers in the boxes yourself anymore.
No, no, usually not doing the numbers myself. Occasionally there's times where it's quicker to do it myself, but very,
Hmm.
very seldom. Um, so you're right. We do have a team approach. I have another CPA on staff who is tremendous, especially when it comes to technology and integrating apps with other software products.
Hmm.
So she's very much our go-to person on anything along those lines, bookkeeping, accounting,
Hmm.
routine transactions, getting that into quickest, easiest format to capture that information.
Okay.
And so then I usually come into play more. Some clients we meet with quarterly, there's a few that we meet with monthly. And so I'm almost in kind of a coaching role in the sense of, okay, we've identified a couple areas to work on, pulling them through that process. I always open up those meetings with finding out what's top of their mind.
Hmm.
We may never get to any of the items on my list, depending on what they've got, but
Hmm.
clients seem to appreciate it. I think one of my biggest challenges is we're so close to the numbers and the information and the knowledge we have
Hmm.
that we forget what we bring to the table and how appreciated that can be on the other side.
I think a lot of accountants and a lot of very busy people are that way. They have so much work in front of them. The volume means they've just got to get the work done and move on, and they don't have the time to reflect on what more they could be doing
Yeah,
for the client. I imagine, though, that's considerably more satisfying than what you were doing before your planning awakening.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think the one change though is when you're putting the numbers in the box, there's an endpoint and it's out the door. And
Hmm.
some of these other interactions are just more ongoing and more fluid.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a shift in a mindset as well.
Right.
Interesting. So go ahead, Neil.
I was going to say the relationship is such an important thing that you're dealing with on a regular basis because once they trust you, they're going to tell you more.
Yes.
Hmm. And they're gonna count on you more, so it's gonna be harder if they're not getting what they want. I think that for a lot of tax professionals watching this podcast now, that's a really important point to think of because some tax professionals aren't people, and they would prefer to focus on the work and the numbers, and that's fine. That's
Yes.
fine. Other people are people, and for me, I love talking with clients. I love learning about clients. I'm glad that I have other support people who do the tax returns and that sort of stuff. And it's not that I'm right and they're wrong or they're right and I'm wrong. It's just there are different kinds of work
Yeah.
involved in running a planning forward tax practice. And we
Absolutely.
need to understand what work is going to be the right fit for the right person without judgment. Some people just aren't great with people. Some people are coarse, some people are jerks, some people are timid and not assertive and they may not be the right people for client facing roles.
Well, and speaking of client-facing roles, one of the most helpful things that we've done in the last few years was take our client base and make sure everyone was assigned to one of the admins as kind of a key contact
Okay?
person.
Mhm.
As we were hearing, well, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who I'm supposed to contact.
Right.
So that has been very helpful. Having admin with different skill sets.
Mhm.
You need somebody
Yes.
that's good at checking those tasks off. You need somebody that's comfortable picking up the phone and,
Right.
very, very different skills.
Yeah, some people think the phone weighs 140
It
pounds.
does, Ed, it does.
It's not that heavy. You pick it up, you call someone, you probably pick it up 100 times a day.
Yeah.
Eh,
If you send more emails than communicate with people on the phone, you're not going to have good relationships because everything can be misconstrued through an email
Right.
or text.
Yeah.
Right. No text, no tone in an email, no tone in text. Sometimes you just have to have a conversation with people and it'll be on the phone or it'll be on Zoom if it can't be in person. I have clients across the country, some of whom I have uh, never met, but at least on a Zoom where we can be face to face and get some semblance of that relationship. And that really is important. Planning builds the relationship because it makes it more valuable. If all you're offering someone is tax preparation services, that's an important piece of their finances, but you're going to be more valuable if you're offering tax preparation plus tax planning, maybe insurance consulting, maybe investment management. There are a lot of things that a quote unquote CPA can do. And that's why I tell CPAs when you're at a cocktail party and someone asks you what you do, don't tell them I'm a CPA. That doesn't tell you anything. That
No.
doesn't tell you anything. And you can be flip about it if you want. I had the conversation with this estate planning attorney that I had this morning. I didn't realize he was in the estate tax field the first time I asked him what he did. He said, "I'm a lawyer." I said, "What kind?" He said, "Rich people." And that was all he needed to say. Okay, so he's got to be doing trusts, estates, and
Yeah.
probably charitable work, and that's what he does:
Mhm.
trusts, estates, and charitable work. So we were able to geek out this morning and talk about how much we love the charitable lead annuity trust.
Mhm.
And we were probably the only people who were so happy to be talking about charitable lead annuity trusts at 9:15 this morning in Cincinnati. But the relationship really is crucial. And if I'm hearing you correctly, Shelley, you're saying you have better relationships with clients than when you were just putting numbers in boxes.
Yes, we certainly try for that connection and working with them throughout the year, whether
Hmm.
that's, meeting on the investment side or planting seeds for what they might need next.
Hmm. Without without going into too much information or oversharing. How has that reflected in your share of revenue, your firm's revenue shares from different lines of businesses?
It's been a nice infusion,
Okay.
especially because we have scaled back a lot on some compliance and some traditional work. And so it's been a nice way to kind of make up for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You mentioned earlier that you're doing half the tax returns than you did previously.
Yeah.
So if I'm a firefighter married to an RN and we've got a couple of W-2s and a mortgage interest statement and some donations to the Salvation Army, uh, you're not really interested in us, are you?
We're not really interested unless you've got investments that need to roll over, you're close to retirement,
Hmm.
uh, looking for maybe life or disability, um,
Okay.
those type of things. But yeah, we're not looking for the one and done tax
Hmm.
return.
Right.
So who are you looking for?
We're looking for, I think our ideal right now, I would say, um, money and movement. They're thinking
Interesting.
about
Okay.
retiring and before too long. Do I have enough?
Hmm.
Um, Maybe there's inheritance coming. What'll I do with it? What's taxable?
Hmm.
What's not taxable? Um, Business owners that are maybe starting to think about exiting. What's that going to look like? How do I get out of this?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
And
see I see more and more business owners who are interested in exiting. They're either open to offers or they're actively looking
yeah,
to take a different direction.
exactly.
You had mentioned earlier the CPA in your office who manages the technology. I'm
Mhm.
curious because I'm curious with everyone that Neil and I talk to. What role is AI playing in your office at this point, and where do you see it going?
I see I see it being used in every piece of software we use. Um, some better than others, but I do see it playing a role. For example, I've got a couple people that are paid hourly, and
Hmm.
so the system they use to track their hours doesn't really do great reporting. And so I'm able to get that out in an Excel format, and I spent about 45 minutes yesterday telling one of this happened to be Chat GPT, this is what I've got and this is what I want it to look like. And
Hmm.
now I can open up that chat and dump in those Excels and have my totals back in minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Y-
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so many of the tasks that we do are based in things that AI can pick up very quickly. The challenge is that those tasks are connected by a web of things that humans need to do.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT may crunch the numbers in an Excel spreadsheet. I've been using Claude to
Hmm.
generate infographics for my PowerPoint slides, and it's wonderful and it's fun to see the conversation with Claude as it tells me now I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that. I want your permission to delete this. Which of these two options do you want? It's a fun interactive process, and I'm creating content faster than I ever was, but delivering that content to human beings still
Hmm.
Yeah.
requires me, and particularly at the level that we're talking about, $500,000 business owners don't want to deal with a robot.
Right.
They typically want to deal with a human being, and even very high tech people. I have clients who work for NVIDIA and have a couple of clients who are involved as AI programmers themselves. But when it comes to their money, they want a human being to talk to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that they understand the limitations of AI better than most people, or if it's just that they would prefer to deal with a human. And when you get to a certain level of service, there are robo advisors at Fidelity that for 20 or 30 basis points a year will tell you how to invest your portfolio. And if you're a Gen Z and you're just getting started, that may be fine. But my Gen X and baby boomer clients don't want a robot managing their money.
No.
They want a human being who's lived through a crash or two, who's been embarrassed, who's had a lawsuit and a tax audit in their life. Maybe they don't want someone who spent time in jail, but they want somebody who's been knocked around by life,
Yeah.
because that perspective is equally valuable to what the AI can do.
Now,
So,
yeah. So if I would add to that, why wouldn't I want a human? Is because the mistakes it makes is just ridiculous. As we're now going into the closest to AGI, which
mhm,
means that ultimately it will be able to do everything. You could give it a direction, give it an assignment like any human being, and they do it for 8 hours. The problem is they make so many mistakes.
right.
You're always going to need a human in the loop. It scares me when softwares build AI, because the problem is if they're not spending enough in the AI with the software, going to ChatGPT, going to Claude, you're going to get a much better experience and
Hmm.
result that's better than if you go ahead and say, oh, the software's built with AI. Doesn't mean anything. They went and purchased some credits, put a wrapper on it, and said, oh, look, we have AI now.
Right, and called it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a ton of errors with AI. I
Mhm.
can use it to do specific tasks. I can use it to summarize or generate graphics or things like that. But when I go into a research mode and ask a question, and the AI uses a 2024 number from the Internal Revenue Code, when I know that that number has been updated for 2026, I have to pause. And the question becomes, I don't give up AI. It's okay. How can I fix this problem? So I need to take my content, I need to take all of that IRS information and drop it into a file in my AI, so that when I ask the chatbot, do this, I've got instructions for the chatbot to look at these specific files before you start anything. So, but it this idea that, oh, you can ask ChatGPT to spit out a legal brief, it's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's not. And a lot of people think it's there. A lot of people fear it's there. I see a lot of what I think is fear mongering in the media about, oh, AI is 18 to 24 months away from being able to eliminate 40% of white collar jobs. And I just don't see that being the case.
Yeah.
No, I see you're going to eliminate the bad people that are not implementing AI. And we've
Right.
overhired, and we're going to have better productivity, and we're not going to keep someone on payroll that's not producing anymore. That's where I see AI coming into it as I'm introducing my first AI employees, which is an interesting thing. It's work, and I think it's more work than if I could just go and hire a human right now. So that's
Right. Well,
giving you that to get go ahead.
yeah, you've got to train your employees.
Yeah.
You've got to train your employees, and when your employees are new, you've got to supervise those employees to the point where they can do the work themselves. Bill Gates years ago talked about, what do we do with taxes? How do we tax the robots? And I've written a couple of times about alternate tax regimes. If AI trims 10% of employees from the workforce, then that's 10% of taxes that we're collecting that we will no longer collect. How do we replace that revenue? Do we tax the robot as if the robot was a person? Boy, doesn't that sound like a recipe for squabbling and disaster. How much is your robot worth?
No
And
fraud there. Yeah.
yeah, and how fast will it be before some CPAs and attorneys hang out a shingle saying, we will help you pay less on your robot tax?
Yeah.
And they've had people with this AGI with OpenClaw that they've gone rogue and let them go get hired by certain people and get paid.
Wow.
AI. That's
The AI has gone rogue and gotten itself a job.
yes.
So
Wow.
how intelligent is it if it's looking for soul-crushing corporate work in 21st century America?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, they never
Okay.
talked about robot taxes on George Jetson and back in the
No, they
yeah.
didn't. I don't know if they had an inexhaustible supply of helium ion fuel so that Rosie the maid could
Mhm.
could get one charge and run forever.
Oh,
There's a column topic idea for me
there you go.
that I'm going to have to write pretty soon.
Well,
Yeah.
I
So
think,
if AI replaces but I certainly see AI replacing some people, but again, there was who was the guy who laid off 40% of his employees because he said AI could do it? Uh,
Oh, the guy
was
that owned Twitter before,
right. Yes.
Dorsey.
Uh, Dorsey said he
Yeah.
laid off 40% of his employees because AI could take over, but then there's a lot of speculation in the media saying no, he was just bloated. He just had too many people.
Yeah.
And instead of admitting an incorrect business decision and having all of those employees, AI gave him cover to lay them
That's a
off.
cover for a lot of people
Yeah.
yeah,
to replace that. So, I mean, as I said, it's going to be very interesting where things go, but I'm going to tell you it's a lot of work and you're going to have to train. So, if
yeah,
you are somebody who is used to managing people, get ready to manage AI.
Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. And some people just aren't people managers. That's another thing that intrigues me about a practice like yours, Shelley. So you go to accounting school, you go to college, you study accounting, and do you ever take a class in how to manage your own accounting practice?
heck no.
No, of
Trial by
course not.
fire. Yeah.
Right, trial by fire.
Mhm.
So you go out, you work for you get a job at a public accounting firm or a company. Someday you lay out your first shingle, and at some point you hire your first employee, and now you're a manager. And most Americans who become managers have no training in how to be a manager. It's
Yeah.
just assumed that as you go up the corporate ladder, that you're going to be better and better at managing people. But I know a lot of small business owners and some accountants who just they're not people managers. They're not effective managers of people. If somebody's staff is turning over every year or two, it's a bad sign for me when I'm coaching them. And if clients are noticing the turnover, it should be a red flag for them as well.
Good point.
So you have this assumption. I don't currently manage any people, and I love that I don't because it's not a skill that I've been trained in.
Yeah.
It's not a skill that it's just not highest and best use of my time. Neil, you've got virtual employees. Do you have any actual human employees?
Yeah, I have human employees. I
You
mean,
have human,
employees, so they're subcontracted, but I have humans.
right?
I have
Do you,
humans in the loop. Yes, I wouldn't
uh-huh.
be able to, I couldn't do it all. No, but
Okay.
I mean, have improved in my managing skills and looking at things and how I do things. I made a mistake to have my team before client face multiple times. We'll not do
Okay.
that anymore. We'll do all the client facing and looking to outsource everything else.
Okay.
That is the ultimate goal in a virtual business like mine because I have clients all over the world.
Hmm.
But it you got to be able to deal with people and see their and this is one of the biggest challenges is to get people who are not the owners of the company,
Hmm.
not have a huge stake in the company, to take ownership in the company, to make them feel good, make them excited that they're here and go to work every day because it's very hard to motivate people nowadays on those things. And it's not money from what we've heard in a lot of things, it's about satisfaction of their job.
Mhm.
Right. It's satisfaction. It's respect. It's a sense of purpose. People who just want to earn money so that they can spend it, I think, burn out pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and they don't find greater meaning there. I don't have employees. I have colleagues. I have subcontractors. I have vendors. It's a whole web of people, and there's no managing an employee. There's no making sure that somebody shows up at 9 o'clock and doesn't leave at 3:30 in the afternoon. There's no managing payrolls and things like that. And again, there are people who are wonderful at it, and good for them. I'm just glad that I've been able to build a business where I don't have to depend on them. And many of the tax professionals that I've talked with on this podcast appreciate that a planning oriented practice lets them earn more income with fewer clients, and that means less stress of managing clients, less stress of managing employees, and all of that. So, Shelley, after 17 years of the planning journey, where are you now? What do you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I ask myself that all the time. You'd think I would have
Good.
figured it out by now.
Yeah, no, I asked. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one who hasn't figured it out.
So, I think ideally, I can't ever imagine walking away from some of the tax aspect of it. The
Mm-hmm.
puzzle, the puzzle piece of it, still looking and, that whole, how do we optimize your brackets? You
Mm-hmm.
got money sitting in IRA, should we move it to Roth? Just all those pieces that can really come together
Mm-hmm.
and help them for years.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Lifelong
yeah,
relationships.
lifelong relationships. And so I think kind of the challenge is finding that sweet spot of, okay, how many of these, we still have a fairly, um, I guess, mixed practice, traditional practice in the sense that, we've got business owners and we've got individuals and, they have different needs. So kind of looking at how do we balance
Mm-hmm.
what's the best fit going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
More valuable relationships and a more satisfying practice built around planning.
Yeah.
I think that is a great place to stop. Shelley, do you want to share your contact information so anyone who wants to reach out to you
Thank
can
you.
find you?
Thank you. Our website is probably the easiest way. We have a contact form on the
Mm-hmm.
website. I get a copy of it in my email. So we go by Jade Advisors. That's JAYD advisors.com. Phone number is really easy to remember. It's 317-843-1040.
1040. Nicely done. All right, Jade Advisors for Shelley Johnson, who has, I'm not going to say how many years of experience you have in the
Thank you.
field because you wouldn't like me very much, but 17 years as a proactive planner. You got in just when this movement was starting. Now, you scroll through Instagram, there are a ton of people who
Oh
are
my
telling you
goodness.
they can pull your tax bill down. Most of them are not CPAs or attorneys. Most of them aren't licensed to represent you in front of the IRS. Shelley's been doing this for 17 years. That's a
Wow.
long, long time.
Mhm.
Just within the last couple of weeks, solved one notice that was over $100,000 with, basically a quick phone call to tell the state they were wrong.
Okay.
And kind of a long phone call yesterday with IRS to solve a $99,000
Oh,
problem for another client. So
wow.
Listen, if you can solve a $99,000 problem in one phone call,
yeah,
that's a productive call. All
yeah,
right, Shelley, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your insights, and we're building a real repository of interviews here of people who have changed their lives through tax planning. I'm
yeah.
Exactly.
glad to have you in the
Appreciate being
club.
along for the ride. Thank you.
All right.
Absolutely. Make sure you like and share the Lion Share podcast and subscribe and write a review. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks again. And that was the